Yeah. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Bada Boomer Live. This is, as I was saying, a unique experience for me, something new that I'm doing called the Gaming Workshop. We're going to be talking about DayZ, more specifically the Doug server, DayZ Underground. You can find that at dayzunderground.com. And we're going to be talking a little bit about the different concepts and things that go into playing on the DayZ Underground server. We're going to explore different play styles, their differences, and try to find commonalities, reasons why they work together, and especially so well in the DayZ Underground setting, which I'm really surprised. Honestly, because I've tried trying to blend play styles in many different types of games before, and it's always difficult. You know, it really is, because everybody has different expectations. And the trick is to find where we can all come together. It's going to be interesting. We're going to have some really fun discussion. Hey, what's going on, Kiba? My man, Kiba. What's going on, buddy? Welcome to everybody who's come. I'm going to give it a couple of more minutes. Let a few more stragglers come in the last few minutes. Mainly because it's going to start off with probably a little bit of a monologue, trying to get things rolling, and then we'll break into some discussions. I'll start talking this. Let's see, the pilot episode, which is today. We're going to talk about changes. That's right, changes, real life changes in these settings. We'll get into it. You'll see you'll know why I'm going into this in a little while, because things always change. And the more time, I'm going to break it. I'm just going to wait. I'll wait. I'm going to dial it back a little bit. Okay. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about organic role play, which is a concept that a lot of people might find a little confusing, but I don't know that it is. So we're going to break down some organic role play so that people have a better idea of what that is. And then, by popular request, believe it or not, I was planning to talk about character development and background, and how we the kind of mindset that you have to have in order to try to breathe some life into these characters. And it has been requested that I examine, by the way, just in case you're wondering, space heater. It's a little chilly down here today. So, I'm going to talk about my character, the Reverend Alessandro. That was the request. I don't think I ever actually got to it. And we'll see how things go. What's up, Sad Max? Right on, everybody. Thanks for coming. I guess we'll go ahead and stop that before I get copyright busted, because of all this stuff's going on. Hey, check it out. Chat, I've got... Watch this. Just for today. Just for you guys with the Stream Deck. It's the Gaming Workshop. Hey, it's finally here. Welcome, everybody. I'm really glad that you could be here. I'm probably going to leave that up the whole time because I don't quite have all my skills down yet for the flashing fun stuff on screen and taking them off. I could take this off, but I'm not going to. See, like, I can even do it manually, but I'm not going to because I like it. I like it. And we're finally here. Finally. Now, let me see. I don't even know if I need my notes. I had notes. I've been thinking about this thing all week and what we were going to talk about and how we were going to do it. But alas, I do have notes. And you know what's on my notes? Nothing. So here's the thing. I figured I would start talking a little bit about myself, because you might be wondering, hey, who is this guy and why should I even be listening to him? Okay. I can't really answer that question. I don't know that you should be listening to me. But what I do know is that I've got like 35 some odd years in gaming. All right. And that's just with the actual sense. My first gaming console was the Atari 2600. I did not own Pong. I had a friend. Actually, it was my dad's coworker's friend had Pong. And so I did actually experience Pong live and in real time back in the day. But I had an Atari 2600. I used to go to the arcades. Man, it floored me when I realized they didn't have arcades anymore. I'm like, man, what happened? gaming consoles at home, I guess, or what happened. But I did all that. I want to say I was like 12 or 13 or so when I first got into role playing for the first time, playing Dungeons and Dragons. I had the box set with the modules and the little plastic die without the paint on the numbers. I like to point out because they don't make them that way anymore. And, well, maybe they do, but I haven't seen them. But anyway, the point is that I've been gaming for a really long time. I've role-played, tabletop role-played, computer role-played. I've PvP'd. I played, plenty of first-person shooters. I had some nostalgic stuff I was going to try to whip out, but as you can see, the studio's not quite done yet, so I'm still unpacking and all. But I do have my original Rainbow Six disc. Yes, from the 1990s. I think it was 1998. It was the first gaming clan I was ever in, and of course it was a first-person shooter PvP type game. Surprise! So I like to think that my experience is varied quite a bit. I might actually know a little something about something. That's not to say that I am the definitive anything, because gaming is ever evolving, and especially when you're involving all these other different people, they all bring their experiences into it. And together we create this wonderful environment for gaming that is the DayZ Underground server, which is why, of course, we're doing this and talking about it today. So I'm not necessarily a gaming noob. And like I said, I've played all these different types of games. So I'd like to think that I have some insight. And again, I don't know everything. And that's why I like to invite you guys to share in the discussion. I'll try to read chat when I can. Thanks, Harry, throwing down the bottom booms, man. I love it. So we'll hopefully get some discussion going at some point. I've got a Discord, which I'm going to link into the chat just in case. Again, one day this will be at the push of a button. Instead, it's a push of 7 buttons? 8 with enter. Anyway, there you go. Feel free to hop into the Discord. The way it's set up right now, I have a helper, but we haven't really discussed how we're going to run the show just yet. So I figured we'll go through, this is the pilot, so it's going to be a little crazy. And next time we'll have it down a little bit more, we'll have it a little more together. So let me hop into my Discord, in fact, which is where I should be. And yes, I'm in the live room. Let me turn this off. Sorry, let me talk you through it. My push to talk. There we go. All right, so now I'm in room. I've got this going on. Nobody's in the waiting room. If you do want to chat and be a part of the later portion of the show, please hop in to Discord, hop into the waiting room, and as time permits, we'll move people up, and then we'll chit chat, or I'll just read chat and we'll just discuss things that way. All right, so the first thing that I wanted to talk about, originally I had been promoting that I was going to talk about the success of Doug. Again, that's DayZ Underground. It's a specific private server for the DayZ game. I decided that I'm probably not the best person to talk about the success of Doug, not the overall success anyway, because I've only been around for about 5 months, if you can believe that. It feels like a lifetime, but we're going to get to that in a minute. So what I decided to do is I would wait, because I plan to have guests and whatnot, as we progress through all of this. And I figured I'll find somebody who's been around a little bit longer than 5 months. Maybe somebody who's been around, because this server, if I'm not mistaken, has been running successfully for 6 years, which a lot of you guys may not know. Some of y'all just started gaming like within that time period. But for someone like me, looking back at the vast array of years that have passed by, 6 years is some staying power. That's some serious time there. So what I would like to do is find somebody who's been around since then, maybe a couple of people, and come on and we'll talk about it in a week or two. And I think that'll be pretty cool. I don't think it'll be hard to find somebody. We'll find somebody. In the meantime, something that I actually know a little bit about, I thought I would start the show with. Instead of the success of Doug, I thought it might be a good idea to talk about changes. And now when I'm talking about changes, I'm talking about life changes, not just like, I moved or that sort of thing. But a lot of times, now keep in mind, I'm not using any notes. This is all we're just going to go stream of consciousness here. The thing about life, okay, and a lot of you guys may not know this, because look, man, I'm in my late 40s, right? I've been around the block a few times. Life is full of change. Like, it is never constant. Even when you least expect it is when life is going to throw some kind of curveball at you. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because there are, like, I grew up most of my life offline. And a lot of you guys are growing up where your world is all online. And some of these older folks probably already know where I'm going with this. There is a vast difference between the perception of our real world and real time versus video game time. When you live your life online, things go a lot faster. You could meet somebody and in a couple of days feel like you've known them for a month, whereas you've only known them for a couple of days. And a lot of this stems from the fact that we will spend a lot of time online. We're talking to each other. We're getting to know each other in a very direct, personal, one-on-one kind of way, even if there's a group. All right, you know what I'm saying? It's like there's a very strong direct connection here, which works a little differently in real life. In real life, I mean, it's like you talk to somebody, you go off and do other things. There's a lot of distractions in the world that pace things out for us in the real world, where it's different than online, where, like, again, everything is all streamlined. It's all like right there in front of you, and you're constantly being fed. It kind of creates, I want to say, it's not even really a false sense, but kind of it is a false sense of time and knowing. And so part of what I wanted to point out in all of this, because some people really, just completely fall into this relationship wise when you meet somebody online, like just people to talk with, not intimate relationship, just friendships, right? Is that it feels like there's a bond that's stronger than really exists. And it feels like we sometimes know people when we really don't know them that well. And other times, even if you play with somebody, you hang out with them for months and years, and it feels like, man, that you guys are inseparable, that you can't, go life without them, because guess what? These people have been an integral part of your life all this time. Well, I'm here to tell you that never be comfortable with that, because everything changes, whether it's friendships or whether it's relationships, whether it's your spouse, your family changes, your job changes, even your interests change, your game will change. If this is the only game you've ever played and you love everybody that you've ever played with it, one day all of that will be gone. And so I guess my point to you, because, look, man, we all go through changes, especially in games like this. My point is, what is it? It's like that 38 Special song. You hold on loosely, but don't let go. I mean, look, man, it's great to be friends. I like a lot of the people that I have met in DayZ, and I feel like I've got a connection with some people. But I'm always trying to keep in mind that, these are just people that I've just met. They're not my lifelong buddies. And even then, I don't have any lifelong buddies, to be honest with you. I know some people do. But my life has changed so much that it's like friends have come and gone, and it's just like, I just try to enjoy things while they last. So my point is that no matter what it is that's transitioning in your life, whether, it's a group or a guild or a game or even friends or any of that stuff, man, I guess my point is to just accept that change is going to happen. Sometimes you're going to like it. Sometimes you're not. But at the end of the day, the entire point of all of this is to have fun. And if you're not having fun, you're doing it wrong. But no, I just don't, it saddens me, man, because like I see people go through these changes and transitions in games, and they become so engrossed with each other that, it's like people actually get depressed. Like, they feel like part of their life has been taken from them, especially if it's not a change because sometimes change happens where we're like, oh, you know what? I'm getting tired of this game. I'm burnt out, whatever. I don't want to play anymore. Then there are other changes that happen that are beyond our control. Things where something might have been viewed a certain way or what have you, whatever the reason is, because I'm not talking about anything specific, honestly. Just in general, things will happen, And so the idea is to not let it get you down. Don't let it destroy you. And most of all, don't let it depress you. These are just games, folks. Sorry, I just have to adjust my alert box. It's under the Gaming Workshop title, which is fantastic. There we go. All right, I think I've got it all sorted out now. So anyway, man, I like I said, I really love like all of you guys. I really like knowing you. I like playing with you. And even when we clash and we have conflict, OOC, whatever, just know that, things change. Even the best laid plans that we have out, I've got like this really long arcing story for my character. And who knows, man? A week or two from now, maybe he'll be dead. I mean, you never know. I'm just trying to say, don't take changes to heart. Don't let it ruin who you are. Don't let it ruin you and your perspective of life and everything around you, man. Because it just happens. It's just the kind of thing we got to roll with. I kind of feel like I need a transition, like between topics. I feel like I kind of worked that one to death. So what time is it anyway? How far have we gotten into this? 15 minutes. That's actually not too bad. Pretty good for an intro and an opening monologue. Lies. I know. I heard from Harry Churches himself that fireflies are a fake yellow. See, look, I'm going to let you guys handle this stuff. Oh, one thing I wanted to mention about these gaming workshop sessions, okay, before we get too much further into this, because I am going to invite guests on, and I don't have a screener. We're not going to do a 30-second delay. We're just going to roll with it. I'm going to trust the people that come in here are going to be sensible, and if not, then they won't be here. But this is a very general discussion show, okay? We're not here to air grievances. We're not here to bring up anything specific. We're not here to point anybody out in any way, shape, or form. And even if I invite you onto the show and we talk about hypothetical situations, please ensure that they are, in fact, hypothetical, not just, oh, I've removed the name of the same situation that everybody's going to know what it is. Try your best is all I'm saying, because we're not here. This is the purpose of this is to help us come together as a community, and to help newer players understand some concepts, even some older players understand some concepts, even myself. You see me in Discord, I'm asking questions all the time because I just want to understand and make sure that, that especially if I'm talking to other people or trying to help other people, that I'm relaying the correct information. So anyway, we're going to try to steer away from any specific instances or any specific grievances that anybody might have, because we're all here to play together. So let me warm myself back up. I was a little nervous today, but it is genuinely cold down here. I think it's in like 36 or 37 degrees. I might actually start wearing a sweater. I like having the uniform. It's the boomer in me, the work ethic. I don't know. So one of the other issues that I wanted to talk about, or topics of the day, is organic roleplay. I'm going to segue into that really poorly, and we're just going to start talking about it. All right, one day, I want to have a whitelist show. I want to have a show where we're talking about the whitelist and Doug, and I'm hoping to get an admin on to actually talk about it, or at least let me submit some questions so that I can talk to you guys about it. The reason why is the whitelist is such like a really big issue, and it's only going to be brief today, and I'm going to bring this up, and man, I'm afraid that when I say this, what's going to happen is someone's going to be like, whoa, there must have been some kind of mistake, and go back and be like, oh, no, dude, this is wrong. But I passed the whitelist on my first try. I know it doesn't happen very often, apparently. And so what I was wondering while I was waiting for whitelist approval, and I was watching all these other people coming into Discord and asking questions, why did I fail, and all this other stuff. I fully expected to fail, okay, my first try. And I didn't. And so I was like, oh, well, there's nothing special about me. I'm just a guy. So, like, what did I do that was different? And so I went and I reread my application a few times, actually, since then. And one of the things that stuck out to me as I was rereading it, and this is after I've had some time in DayZ and Doug and all that, is that I talk an awful lot about organic roleplay, although I had never technically done it, in that phrase, organic roleplay. And I didn't even know that I was describing organic roleplay in my application as I was filling it out. I think probably one of the scenes that really hit out of my whitelist application was I was talking about how one day I would try I could see myself playing a character who's doing this certain thing. Oh no, and he dies. Okay, well then maybe I would try playing another type of character, and I would just come up with another character concept. I came up with like 4 or 5 different character concepts, one after another, and I kept thinking, oh well, I'd play this for a while, then maybe this would happen, it would go bad, and I would die, and I would come right back, as like with like a totally different character concept. And I kind of feel like that might have been one of the things that got me through was this acceptance that, my character may die, I may come back with something completely different. And it might have, and then this is all speculation because nobody will talk to me. All right. None of the admins will talk to me about this sort of thing yet. So I'm just speculating here that it's part of the reason, one of the things that got me through the whitelist was understanding organic roleplay. So again, this is one of those things where it can mean different things to different people. So this is not a 100% perfect definition of organic roleplay. But the way I see it, it's kind of like this, okay? We'll look at the term organic, all right? What's it mean? Like naturally occurring, right? Okay. And then role play, a lot of people have a general idea of what role play is. It's basically taking on the role of another character and making actions and statements and whatnot as if you were that character. Essentially the key to role playing, okay? So what you have is something that happens that occurs naturally, and then you have basically improv acting, okay? And you put those two things together, you get organic role play. Now, here's the key, okay? Because a lot of people, when they think of role play, they think of, oh, we just have to sit around and talk all day. Oh, they're these and thous, and we're sipping tea, and this is our role play. Well, like, no. Role play can encompass pretty much anything. Anything that your character would do that would make sense for your character and your character's life, your character's way of thinking is role play. So even if you have, this is going to freak out some role players, I know. It's hard for me to accept sometimes too. But talking is not necessarily role play. I mean, if I have a character, for instance, who is a hardcore survivalist, who is a hermit, lives out in the woods, hates people, and I see somebody coming, especially in my territory, chances are I'm just going to line up that shot and pull the trigger because this is a survival situation. If I already don't trust people and I already don't like people, why in the world would I walk up to them and talk to them? Hail, stranger! Pretend I'm not here. Pretend like you didn't know I was here. But let's have a discourse now. Oh, I don't like you. Now I will shoot you. There's nothing, first of all, there's nothing really organic about that, right? Nothing that really makes any sense at all in any of that situation. If that's the kind of player, the kind of character that you have, So it's just like me. It's like when I'm running around the game and I'm trying to, do things like maybe I'm looting or something, and somebody walks over. I know, I have to go say hi. I have to go talk to them now because if I don't, they're going to think I'm not a role player and then they're just going to shoot me. And it's like, man, I didn't have time to sit down and have like a 40-minute conversation with some dude about the weather. I just want to go loot, right? Well, guess what? Sometimes I do feel like talking to people. Sometimes I don't. That's the organic nature of the role play. You never really know exactly what you're going to run into when you encounter even the same person. It could be something different. Anyway, I think it's important to point out that organic role play does not mean scripted role play, right? You don't have to set up times to come and meet somebody. And just because it's organic, that doesn't mean that you can't set up a time to run into somebody. I think the idea, the organic aspect of it is that it's not forced. That doesn't mean that it's optional. That's key there. The role play really isn't optional, but you're not forced to do it. So how does that work out? This is probably where I should have had at least an outline for my notes. But how does that work out, right? If somebody's one person's role playing and one's not. Well, it's simple. You don't have to take the other person's perspective into account. Like, for instance, if I'm, walking around, somebody just starts popping off shots at me. I don't know why they're doing it. I have no idea. Maybe they're just, a PvP junkie that just wanted to hop in and kill some people. Maybe it's like the hermit I spoke about earlier who, distrusts people and doesn't want, to be around people, want to, eliminate people. It could be any reason, okay? But as a role player, it's up to me to decide if I'm going to care about their motivation. Because guess what? I don't know what their motivation is. So why ruin my experience by just getting all salty and assuming, oh, they just must be trying to just ruin my day? No, it could just be a part of the ever-evolving, setting that we live in, and the post-apocalyptic danger everywhere setting, right? But you see, it's all up to me. It's up to me and how I choose to perceive it as to whether or not I want to take it salty or take it as role play or whatever. And yeah, it's unfortunate when people disrupt my role play. Like, we have like a nice scene going on. Actually, Anecdote time, okay? I should have a button for that. Anecdote. No, it would be super annoying. Whoop, whoop. Anyway, so I was at my central location. Most of you guys know I play the Reverend Alessandro. And he runs an aid station down at a church. Well, this guy, Brother Franklin, showed up one day and just started helping me around the church. And it was really cool. I was like, oh, role-playing, a little light, religious role play with him. And we were farming and filling up the aid station. And all of a sudden, this guy, he went around the corner. I'm over here planting seeds. And all of a sudden, I hear him going, hey, what are you doing? And I stop and I look over, and there's a guy in a motorcycle helmet, which is almost always danger to me, in my view, in this game. If you got a motorcycle helmet on, you are up to no good. Sorry, I know it's not how it is all the time, just for me. Anyway, so this guy in the motorcycle helmet's over there accosting my friend, and I'm like sitting right here. It's like not like he's alone, And so I'm like, hey, and I get up, and the guy's starting to stab my friend. I'm like, no, you can't do that. And I go running over there, and I pull out my gun, and I fire off a couple of rounds, and the guy runs off. I hit him, but I don't kill him because I have a crappy gun. I'm not very good at PvP in this game. Anyway, so he runs off and hides. And so I'm like, Brother Franklin, are you okay? Here's a bandage, man. It's like we're trying to get him healed up and everything. The next thing I know, and of course I didn't think to clear the church, but it was kind of in character, okay? It was kind of in character because, the Reverend, he's been chilling around the church for a long time. He's pretty comfortable, Thought maybe the guy just ran off. Well, the guy comes running around the corner, plants a knife right in my chest. You are dead. Crap, man, because here I was, right? I was only on for like an hour. All I wanted to do was come in, plant some vegetables real quick, fill up the tent, no big deal. Or actually, they were crates back then. It was before the wipe. But no, man, all that role play got disrupted by some random dude, and it was a truly random person, okay? The funny part about this, and this is something that I didn't know, okay, is like I'm dead. You're dead. I come back on the coast. I'm like, fine. Can't spawn cycle, so I just start walking all the way down the coast. Later, I came to find out that a couple of friends were actually on the railroad tracks near where we were, heard the gunshots, decided to investigate, came over. Meanwhile, Brother Franklin's like freaking out, role-playing, mind you, freaking out because the Reverend's dead. This other guy like ran off again. My friends show up, find out what happened, find the guy, end up, getting him down and holding him up. And the point is that here I was just doing this thing, minding my own business essentially, and this guy shows up and disrupts all my role play, right? And I could have been bitter about it. I could have been like, man, this sucks. But what happened? It turned into this really great role play opportunity for all these other people that were around. And then I'm sure the guy that actually killed me had a good time. So you see, organic role play, it's all encompassing. It could be anything, any kind of role play experience, any kind of encounter that you have in game can be an organic role play experience. Just give me a second. There are other ways, by the way, about organic role play, things that don't actually pertain to Doug or DayZ or even role playing in general that I'd like to throw out at you. If you were watching me stream on Sunday, you saw me playing Dead by Daylight, or even earlier today. Totally different game. It's a 4v1 asymmetrical game where when somebody's playing a killer and there's 4 survivors and the killer's trying to kill the survivors and the survivors are trying to escape. Real quick, okay? So in this game, all right, there are different survivors, and each ones, they have different powers, and you can unlock these powers and you can distribute them to other characters. Basically, other characters can learn to use them really quick. So basically, the survivors are little more than skins, just what your character looks like, because you can mix and match skills. I don't play that way. I have a hard time doing that. Each character has their own background that's been provided by the development company, Behavior Interactive. Okay, they write all these backgrounds for these characters. I read them, and I get into that. That's my thing, right? So when I play this game, I could play, say there's a guy, David, okay? David's a big, tough guy. He's altruistic. He likes to defend people, okay? I can take that character and play it however I want. I could play him super sneaky. I could play him super selfish. I could play him where he's running around healing everybody. I could play him however I want. But how do I end up playing him? Exactly like he's described in his background. And it's almost compulsive. It's not even like, I'm going to play him this way. It just happens because I role play. I'm a role player. So to me, even that is organic role play. Even though I'm not interacting with other people that way. I'm running it through my mind. I'm playing David. I'm thinking like David. If I was to play another character, Nia, for instance, she likes to be super sneaky. She's an urban street rat kind of character. That's how I'm going to play her. Unless, there are times when I'll try to throw a curveball at a killer, but most of the time, they don't know how people are going to play their characters. And I tend to just play it. Call of Duty, man, of all things. I was running around, I play, gosh, it's been so long since I played. I can't remember half of the characters' names now, but, if I'm playing like one of the Russian characters, I'm thinking, Russian in my head, with stupid Russian accents that I do. Russian accents are great, by the way. Mine are stupid. I'll just tell you that. But, it's just a mindset, and I carry it with me from game to game to game. And I imagine it's because I started out, having to entertain myself with my imagination growing up. And a lot of people don't have to do that anymore. In fact, it used to be where you would go out and buy a game, and that would be the game you had. Because you'd have to go out and buy a whole new game, a good $40, $50 game or whatever. These days, you can just download like half the games out there for free and play them till you get bored with them, play the next thing. I mean, it's astonishing to me. This is part of why it's so amazing to me that Doug has been around for 6 years, because usually I would say like around a year of a life expectancy in a game. And that's extreme. Usually it's a lot less than that. Once or twice. I mean, there's been a casual game on my phone. I play, The Walking Dead Our World. That one I've been playing for off and on for 2 years. So, Anyway, all of these things that I do, these organic role play experiences that I have in all of these different games, for me, really help me to enjoy the game on a whole other level. Because like if you're playing a first-person shooter game and you're just running around just mowing people down, and that's the beginning and the end of your experience, then sooner or later that's going to get boring. Sooner or later, you're going to realize it's just monotonous. I'm just doing the same exact things over and over and over. And even on certain maps, and especially with like games like Call of Duty, where you have like a finite map and all this, you can get down to where it's like it's all muscle memory. Wherever you're going, whatever you're doing, you don't even have to think about it anymore. And to me, that gets boring. And so with organic role play and the way that I play, and I think about, stories constantly, and I'm thinking about what my characters are doing and why they're doing it, and the whole thing really helps prolong the life of, or at least the interest that I have in games for me, because it just adds that extra element to it. Gosh, I'm gonna take a break. Let me see what everybody else has been saying. I'm normally very good at talking with my chat, but this is the first time I've ever tried any kind of instructional or chatting kind of streaming show, so it takes a little bit of practice. Harry Churches says, he's talking to Dr. DayZ. I can name people who have played for months, are role-playing gods, love the hardcore, and are basically born for Doug that cannot get whitelisted. The person that I was telling you about earlier, this is part of the reason. I'm not even going to lie. I want to talk about the whitelist, and I want to talk about it with an admin, and it's going to happen one way or another, sooner or later. But Brother Franklin, the guy I was talking about, can't get whitelisted. And I don't think he's embarrassed by that. It's, a lot of people apparently can't. And I don't understand why. I actually watched this guy letting a dude stab him. He's like, whoa, what are you doing? Because his character is so non-combatant. The guy was just stabbing him. I had to fire shots to get him to stop. It was pretty crazy. And he can't get in. But then again, I haven't seen his application. Oddly enough, I've mentioned my success with the whitelist application a couple of times, offering to help people, and nobody will let me help them. So, and it's cool because I don't really want to help. Like, my help wouldn't be hands-on. My help would be like what I'm doing right now. Just talking concepts and being like, like this is kind of how I see organic role play, and then let you go off and try to figure it out. So maybe in a way doing this show will help people with their whitelist. I don't know. But right, okay. Now Dr. DayZ saying I was staff for 2 years. If you'd like some words, it doesn't mean they'd reflect the current state of the team. See, that's part of it. When I went through the whitelist application, it was like I said about 5 months ago, and I know that there were different people doing them then. Now, I'm not saying that there's any difference in the people that are running aspects of the admin team now. I'm just saying that things change. Sometimes things are easier, sometimes they're harder. So you never really know. That's why I was like, I'm really tempted to start asking questions about my whitelist, but I'm afraid that it's going to be like, this guy was just on his way out and he was just kind of grudge pushing people through. So, sorry, we have to reevaluate your whitelist status. That would be crushing. Even though I was fully prepared to fail. The Q&A section of the Discord really helped me prepare myself for failure on the whitelist thing. Fortunately, it didn't happen, but I was prepared for it if it did. I was like, well, I'll just write another one. Yep, that's what I mean. It's true, and it is interesting because it is like some people have problems and some people don't. We're going to talk about the whitelist one day. We're going to get on the whitelist. How does one join the Discord? Are you talking about the DayZ Underground Discord? This guy, King of Xantrix, is a good friend of mine from streaming. He's been, watching me with me. I don't even say watching me. We've been playing together for over a year. Ended up getting him DayZ, so you guys are going to see him sooner or later. Hopefully this will spark his interest in coming. But yeah, anyway, I'm going to scroll up and look at some of these comments. If you guys have any comments about organic roleplay, here, let's do it this way. I'm not sure. Here, I'll put that in there. I'm not sure if anybody else can post links. I don't have any moderators either, by the way. So if you really wanted to go nuts, now's the time. But yeah, there's the website for it. I think I just closed. Oh, I did. I just closed my web browser. That's perfect. Boy, there is nothing but professionalism here at Bada Boomer Live in the Gaming Workshop. What kind of jackass closes his stuff while he's looking at it? I tell you what. There we go. All right, I've got it back up. Not like I ever look at Twitch anyway. I appreciate you doing this. Oh, thanks, man. I really appreciate that. Because like I said, I'm not, I don't know 100% of everything. There are certain things I feel pretty strong about, like the organic roleplay aspect of all this. I mean, I had, like I said, I started gaming like 35 years ago. Okay. I was 12. I'm 47 now. Okay. I was like 12 when I first played my first sit-down role-playing game, learned how to play Dungeons and Dragons. Okay. And even coming to Doug, okay, having done that, having written out, this 18-page essay of whitelist application, even getting through that on the first try, all of it, I still went through some culture shock. Like, there's no doubt about it. Robert, some of you guys know Robert from the community. He's a helpful person now. He was always a helpful person to me. I love Robert. He's fantastic. OOC, I don't know, sometimes he plays characters too. So that's all I'm saying. But he helped me when I first joined up. He's the first person that I ran into. And we went to OOC and we started talking about things. And he was, because I had never really played DayZ. I'd played, I want to say for like a week on public servers. Kept getting KOS'd and killed within like 10 minutes or so. And just really didn't find it that appealing, which is why I came looking for a roleplay server. And like I said, I met Robert. He taught me how to play the game pretty well. So I had a pretty good grasp. I had a pretty good grasp on the basics of how to play and all. But, I was still expecting. I was like, oh, it's a roleplay server. They call it organic roleplay. Well, I'm sure that just means that it just happens when it happens. No big deal, And so I'm sitting here trying to play it. And then, you run into some situations with some folks that just don't really make sense to you from a roleplay perspective. And you think, man, these guys are just jerks. But then you think later on, as you're going through and progressing more and you're learning more about the server and the people on it, that they're probably not being jerks at all. It's probably just the way they play. And that even though it's a roleplay server, that not everybody role plays. And even if they don't role play, I don't have to look at it that way. All the stuff I've already pretty much covered. I kind of discovered all of that on my own, like in the first, I want to say like 3 to 4 weeks of playing on Doug. And so that's kind of one of the things that prompted me to want to do this in the first place, because even someone like me with my varied game experience had some culture shock coming in. I had to get some concepts I had to get used to real fast. And once I started to be able to hide some things, stash some loot and all that, I found the rest of the game to be a lot easier. That's really the worst part about it, is when you're coming in and you're just trying to build something just from the very beginning. It's like, man, I really would love to just be able to set this stuff down for a minute and go do something else. But when you come back, that stuff's going to be gone. So it's like once you can finally put a lock on a door, even though there is literally no security in that whatsoever, it still feels that way, and it enables me to relax a little bit, not worry so much, have the gear fear and all that. But yeah, like I said, there were a lot of things I had to learn, and so I just started writing them down or taking mental note of all these different difficulties that I had, and realized actually that I wasn't the only one experiencing all of this and going through all of this. And I've seen some people, like, it's going on in the chat. We're talking about people who seem like should be slam dunk for whitelist aren't making it. And when they don't, a lot of them just give up. And it's a shame, man. And I just I want to like take those people and be like, no, don't give up. Here, play a little while. See how it goes. This is how it works. There are people that I've seen that seem like they'd be real solid. They get killed one time and they're like, forget this, man. God, I spent like 2 hours trying to find that gun. It's like, guys, this all goes back to the monologue about change, right? Settle down. This game is fantastic. You could be on top 1 minute and you could have absolutely nothing the next. It's just the way it goes. That's why it's kind of fun for me to play with the religious character that I have, because I can just say the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. It's just that true. That is DayZ, right? That's being DayZ'd. I think most of the time. It's true. You can't give up, man. I'll tell you right now. There were so many times when, like, even now, okay, I'll die. I'm not a noob now, but I'll die and I'll wake up on the coast and, man, I might find a knife, I might find a machete, I might find a chicken, I might find 5 cans of beans. I mean, it's like you never know what you're gonna find. But there are times when I've logged in and I've played and I've literally run around for 6 hours trying to survive. Just 6 hours. I mean, it's like I just want to play the game, man. But that is the game. So you never know. You never know. It's really sad, especially when it's without getting into too much detail, especially since I'm planning to release something about this story format. But there was an instance where I met a group that was new to me, and it was cool. We were hanging out and talking. And some other guys that I knew showed up who also knew this other group before I knew either group. And it didn't end well. I'll just put it that way. It did not end well. And one of the guys was like, man, screw this, man. I just wanted to come out and hang out, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, look, I'm sorry that happened to you. I'm really sorry. It happens to me. You guys can go back and see, if I haven't put it on YouTube, I definitely will. I know I have it. The very first time I ever streamed DayZ, it was like, or Doug, it was a fantastic night. Fantastic. I decided to send Alessandro out pilgriming. I don't know how to say that. Pilgrim. Missionary. This is why people use the missionary work. He went out doing missionary work. Actually, he was having a pilgrimage, a walkabout, if you will, going around to meet different factions. He ended up going up and meeting the carnival. Had a really spectacular time with that. I think Kiba was here that night. He loved seeing it. Missionary. Oh, yeah. Anyway, so I ran into Ember, who was a fantastic character in Doug, so I never met before. We ended up palling around. Ran into a ranger, saved his life. Ended up going to hang out at the dugout. I mean, this was all night. This was like a 4-hour stream, or most of a 4-hour stream. Went out to the dugout. This was really cool because we were up at the dugout. This was so long ago. But there was like conflict coming, and the ranger that we had saved with food was there and pulled us aside and was like, hey, it was cool what you guys did for me earlier. You might want to get out of here because things are about to go down. And so we did. Well, I did anyway. I was like, all right, fine. It's almost the end of my stream. I'm going to go. And here I am running through the woods. Had this fantastic night. Wonderful night. Great role play. Picked up my first ever Bible, which is crazy because I play a Reverend. He wants a Bible. It's so hard for me to find Bibles. Just so you know. OOC, but I'm just saying. Anyway, so got my first Bible. I'm all running through the woods. I'm like, woohoo! All of a sudden, bang! I was like, Boy, that was really close. And I turned, and the guy's just sitting there right there. Pow, you are dead. First ever KOS on stream. And, man, fortunately, I only had about 10 to 15 minutes of my stream left. I had smiles, man. I was smiling. All right. Yeah, I was smiling. Finally got that damn Bible. I was smiling all up until end stream, and then I finally got to shake it off, man, because that's all you can do. That's all you can do. And that's part of, again, the concept of the organic role play. Here I was, man. I had this wonderful night, just when everything went really well, had a lot of great interactions, and it ended like that. Should I be salty and sad? Not really, because it's just a part of the game, and it afforded me future roleplay opportunities, just kind of like that other instance where I got killed trying to save somebody in front of the church. You just never know. You never know what's happening beyond the words, "you are dead." There's other stuff still going on, so. That's right, crying on the inside. Mr. Genkenstein, it's good to see you, buddy. I don't know. You guys should check out Mr. Genkenstein. He's there in the chat. I would do a shout out, but I'm just so not. I'm still new to some of this, but you should check him out. He streams Doug and DayZ as well, and is a carnival friend. He showed up, I think, with the group of guys I was hanging out with, like right at the tail end of my hanging out with them. So I didn't really get to hang out with Mr. Genkenstein too much, but he looks like a super fun dude. So, and if you're playing with the carnival, you kind of got to have something fun going on about you, because carnival's a little crazy. If you haven't been up to Lollipop Tower, you should make your way up there. It's pretty fun. Anyway, so let's see, where are we at? Man, it's been almost an hour. This is actually going pretty well. I'll tell you what, give me just a minute. Let me BRB. I'm going to head up and lighten the load just a tad. I'll be right back. We'll see in just a few minutes. Give me a second. Did it work? My transition and everything. Yes! I'll take it. I'll be right back. You guys can probably tell. It's the simple things that make me happy. I like it when I can press a button and it does exactly what I want it to do. Like, yes. You were missing earlier. I messed up my Dead by Daylight transitions earlier somehow. I don't know how I did it. Here we are, back with the gaming workshop. I really do. I feel like I need transitions, something between topics. Something to keep things rolling. I like it. Should I go back to my notes? I don't think that it will do any good. If you guys could see my notes right now, it's pretty comedic. You could actually, but I'm not going to show you my screen. So, all right. I guess we'll just mosey right along. I'm actually a little ahead of schedule. I did expect this to go an hour to an hour and a half. It's been almost an hour, so I think it's going pretty well. So without the transitions or all right. Yeah, welcome back to the Gaming Workshop. This is the part of the show where we would have a guest, and unfortunately, I don't have a guest. I get to be my own guest today. No, we just figured... I got Seymour in the waiting room. He's waiting to move people up into the live chat. So once again, if you guys wanted to chat with me on any of this or anything else, you're welcome to come to my Discord. It is right there. I think that link still works. I don't know. For some reason, I clicked that they should last forever, and they don't. And then I'm like, oh, all right, whatever. Technology. I'm a boomer, dude. I don't have to know how this stuff works anymore. I just like that I press a button and it does something, and I get all excited. Oh, Bishop, you're going to be my guest, buddy. You can always be my guest. He's one of the guys that hangs out with me down around wherever it is that I might hang out sometimes. It's hard, right? When it's like metagaming, it's like, yeah, where do I hang out all the time? I don't know. On the Shinaris map. Come find me. This isn't Match.com. All right, guys. Man, I made that coffee for the start of the show. It's my first sip of it. These cups, by the way, Contigo, not a sponsor, Probably should be. I use these cups all the time. They're fantastic. They do a really great job of keeping the temperature of my cup. The problem with it is that I get so comfortable with having my cup of coffee sitting there for like 3 hours that it will be warm when I drink it, but it will still taste like crap because it's been sitting there for 3 hours. Anyway, all right, fine. I'll be my own first guest today. Oh, Kate. Okay, it's good to see you, Kate. Thank you for stopping in. I love Kate. Kate's another fun person that I've run into literally playing. When I met Kate, I was playing, of course, the Reverend Alessandro, and he was having a rough day that day, and he came around a corner, and there was somebody, hi, right in his face, pow. It's like, man, immediately started punching. She's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I was like, whoa, I'm so sorry. Don't kill me. No, of course, I had to jump on you, but yeah, that was fun. I got to punch Kate and walk away from it. I'm just saying. The power of role play. It's possible. It makes the impossible possible. Speaking of which, another crappy segue. We're going to go into... what was I going to talk about? I'm going to talk about, since this is something that people seem to like about me, character development, character background. Basically, how to come up with who you are. Sorry. I actually have a Yeti Blue microphone here, as you can see. It's not hooked up right now. I don't know why. I should probably hook it up for times like these. It picks up every single little possible noise that goes around. I don't know why. I used to podcast with it. I never used to have this problem with it. So anyway, that's why I'm not using the boom mic. I'm just using the headset mic today. At least you can hear me. You can hear all my grunting and swallowing and snorting and all those sounds, but that's okay. So we're going to talk about character development a little bit. All right. Now, when I first came to Doug, okay, of course, I'm a role player. I had a concept in mind. I was going to do ye old myself in a fictional setting type of thing. Because really what I don't, and I don't really know what to expect too much, from playing in a new place. It's easier when I stick with the concept that I'm familiar with. I'm pretty good with that. Been doing it for 40-some years. I'm all right. I could be better. But anyway, what I like to do, okay, I decided, I figured out pretty early on that I was going to try to come up with a permanent character that I really liked playing here. And what I like to do is I like to take a story writing concept, okay, or principle, which is basically how most stories start out, okay, as what's the word? See, this is where I get myself screwed up because I don't, something common, a word that I use all the time, and now it's going to elude me. But the premise, here we go, that's a good one. A simple premise, story premise, okay? And it usually starts out with a question. And the story seeks to answer that question, okay? So like in this case, okay, with the Reverend Alessandro, all right, the question that I had, what came to mind was, and now I'm a Christian, okay? I know that we all come from all walks of life. That doesn't even need to be an issue. But I was wondering, in a post-apocalyptic setting, or like I think about, like I watch The Walking Dead or I read The Walking Dead. I'm like, I was like, what happened to God in all of this, and everybody's religious beliefs? They don't really talk about it much on TV shows and that sort of thing. So my question, my premise for this character was basically, what happens to Jesus, or what happens to religion in the post-apocalyptic setting? Because it's still there, right? I would imagine that if there was any time that anybody would need religion, or something to cling to, it would be during these desperate times. So that's where all of this started. I was kind of wondering, well, can you keep God relevant in a godless world? And that was the question that I sought to seek out to answer. I can tell you right now that the answer is still unanswered. Like the question's still unanswered. I haven't decided yet if, at least in this setting, whether it's possible. I'm trying. And I think that the role play is coming out really strong. And it's I think the answer is a definite possible yes, that I think that you could actually carry through. The other issue, though, and this is something that I often do when I create a character, and especially in an environment like this where it's got this long, epic story, to live out, is I create a starting point for the character. This is, I think about, all right, where the character is right now at the very beginning of the story. And then what are the things that brought that character to this point in the story? And some of you may be familiar with the background that I published. I did an audio background. I say video only because I have to put some pictures to it to get it on YouTube. They don't just do audio there, but it's more like a stop action video. I'm not quite that good. Hopefully somebody will be happy to tutor me on video making in DayZ. That would be top notch. But anyway, so I made the video about Alessandro, and basically what it described was that he grew up in the South in America. And these are all things that I worked on. It took me about a week, really, of going back and forth on these little details. But these are the kind of details I came up with. Like, he grew up in the South, and he is African American. He grew up in the South. And so he had his family was part Italian, which, by the way, I just love the name. I don't know what it was. It was just one of those things where I was brainstorming names and I was just saying them out loud, whatever came to mind. And for some reason, the combination of the Reverend and Alessandro just really stuck with me. And so it was kind of an Italian name, and I was like, oh, well, he's part Italian, part American, and he probably had a lot of problems, because I have to figure that this was like in the 80s that he was growing up. And so there were probably a lot of racial issues, probably a lot of just basic problems. Now, I really got into thinking about this, as you can see, but I was thinking about, well, what kind of person would that make him? Well, he'd probably be pretty introverted. He probably wouldn't feel like he belonged anywhere, that kind of thing. And so then it would make sense that maybe he was trying to get away from his parents and he would join the army or join the military, because a lot of people did that back then. And so plus, it also helps with college, helps get some extra money, if you can't find a job for whatever reason, there's that. And so I kind of put all that together, and that brought in a military type of background. Now, this is another part of it, is that I knew that I was going into DayZ, which is a very combat-oriented world, because, it's post-apocalyptic and everybody's trying to kill each other or live off of each other, what have you. What have you. You caught me running out of breath. That was rare. Anyway, so I figured that having some very basic, because he wasn't going to be a combative character, and I just figured that having a basis in, at least knowing what a weapon was, how to load it, some basic weapon experience was necessary for a character like this. And so that's why I threw in the military background. Also, this takes place, of course, in Europe or Asia. So here I am, an American, and I don't really know. Again, this was my first character that I made in this game in particular, so I didn't really know how other people, dealt with the location or the time frame or any of that. So I try to fit it in with the setting. It's happening in Russia, basically, or thereabouts. So I had to get him over here. Well, being in the army, that's easy. And then I decided, it wasn't enough. Like, how did he become a reverend? How did he come to find God? So I put that in the background as well. And you see, I just started at this one basic question, and then I'm like, okay, well, who's going to answer this question? So then I had to start out with this guy, and I knew what I wanted him to be, but I wanted there to be a reason for him to end up that way. And the reason why I care about that, and I don't know how deep these concepts are getting, or if I'm going too fast or what have you, but the reason why I look at it that way is because when I'm playing the character, even if I'm just going around trying to shoot people, which obviously it doesn't really work out with this character, but no matter what I want to do with the character, I want to know why my character is doing it. You might hear actors say, what's my motivation for this character? What is it about, this point in this character's life that it brought him here and made him want to do these things? Those are the kinds of question or answer. I like to have those questions answered in my head when I'm playing, because then it makes the character a little more believable. It kind of makes it feel like, like the character's a living, breathing entity. Anytime you're all like, I don't know, it's like, it kind of breaks immersion a little bit. And I don't mind. And trust me, most of the players on Doug are very cool about this sort of thing, because nobody here is an expert. We are all, trying to have fun. in whatever way that we have fun, we're trying to do that and do it together. So we got to give each other a little bit of leeway and some slack and whatnot. But these are the kinds of thoughts that the thought process that I work through when I'm working on a character. Now I started the Reverend Alessandro up near Svet, up in the Northeast. Okay, things happened. He wasn't able to stay there because I was just going to get destroyed if I stayed up there. So I found out about Alextown. I found out about what Johann Baptiste, you guys are familiar with him, I'm sure, in Alextown, and what he was doing as far as building apartments for people, giving them a fresh start, trying to help people get acquainted, and what have you. Well, that's kind of how it was working for me, because I didn't have a base and I was, living from like stash spot to stash spot, and that's hard to do, especially a non-combat character, and especially being new to the game, never mind the server. So that's what brought Alessandro down to the south, was basically needing a place to live. And once I did that, I immediately, because at first I saw the church up in Svet and I wanted to use that as a focal point for the role playing, because of course I'm playing a Reverend. And so I was able to do the exact same thing just down south. And it was cool because there was already a community of people down there. Now, not everybody down there is a role player, but they were all playing together. And that's what enabled me to be able to take a breath. I'd be like, fine, okay, look, I think this concept is provable. I think I can play this. And keep in mind that I'm also playing a non-combatant in a game where people are very combatant. And I do not recommend that, by the way. For anybody who's brand new, I do not recommend trying to play something that's a higher level of challenge until you're used to the server, or at least the game. Because, man, it's hard. I've killed like 3 players, I think, that didn't ask for it. I said it in Discord. I said, OOC, in character killings, not OOC killings. And somebody said, you shouldn't be killing people out of character to begin with. I'm like, yes, I agree. I should not kill people out of character. But they meant in real life. It was funny. But anyway, yeah, somebody walked up to me one time and was like, hey, will you kill me? I just want to respawn on the coast. Not role playing, nothing like that, right? So me and my smart self, I'm like, well, no, suicide's never the answer. Come on, let me talk to you about the Lord. And so what does he do? He starts punching me. So I'm like, all right, fine. So I just kill him. But so now anytime anybody comes up to me and they're like, hey, kill me, I want a better spawn, I'll just kill them, because why not? Just gonna start punching me. You murderer. Oh, I know, man. You should have seen the very first time I ever killed anybody in this game, by the way. I wish I had been filming it. I wasn't. I'm pretty sure. I know I didn't stream it. I wasn't filming it. Normally I do record everything that happens. And by the way, I highly recommend that for everybody. If you have the means to record everything that you do. And it's not because it's, partly is because, you could be accused of breaking a rule and not really have done that, but it may seem that way, but your video evidence might prove it otherwise. Likewise, somebody might come up to you and do something to you that is a violation of the rules and take advantage of you, and you can't prove it, except that you were smart enough to record your gameplay. So it's just a matter of just obvious. You should record your gameplay when you can. But anyway, so it was really funny. It was one of those times when it was like a 4-hour trying to get off the coast session, and I was tired. I think I was, where was I? I don't even remember what town I was in, but I was tired, and I ran into a corner inside of a building. And I had a sledgehammer in my hand, a hockey mask on my face. I obviously didn't look like I was there to have tea. So I'm standing there, and I'm looking at the web, I'm doing something else. And all of a sudden this guy walks up to me, and he stops, and he's staring at me, and then he just starts punching me. I'm like, mouse one, mouse one, mouse one. And I was so excited, though. I play that down. I was just like, mouse one. Because that's all it was. I just hit him a couple times with a sledgehammer and he died. But I was so excited. I was like, yeah! I took you down, dude. It was so funny. But anyway, because it was the first time I had killed anybody in this game. It was a great time. Hey, what's going on, Robert? I was just singing your praises earlier. You missed it. No, I was just saying that Robert, earlier I was mentioning Robert was probably one of the best experiences that I had early on, was running into him. And having somebody actually take my hand and explain to me why I could eat 5 pounds of chicken and still die an hour later from starvation. I never would have thought it was possible. That's how hardcore Doug is, man. You could eat a whole cow, 2 whole cows, and still be dead by midnight. It's hard. But anyway, so where did we get? This is how I came up with the character concept for Reverend Alessandro. And the thought process I had, the question I wanted to answer. Okay, I had a question. I came up with a general idea of how I wanted to come up with it. I came up with a character who could possibly answer that question. And then I set him out into the world. Now, things have changed. He's not as doe-eyed, bushy-tailed as he once was, the Reverend Alessandro. And some of you have probably seen the second video that I put out called The Life After, which to me has come up a few times because here I am playing this character, right? I've got him started. I've got him entrenched. I've given him a purpose, and he's got something to do most of the time, which is run an aid station now. And I was like, it's just not enough. This isn't enough story. This is just now I've got a guy who has something to do, but he needs, some place to go with it. And so I started thinking about, here he's a religious leader. I wanted to answer this question. Can God be relevant in a post-apocalyptic world? Okay, so to answer that question, I had to figure out, well, how is he feeling about God right now, in Christianity and all this? And I know a good bit about Christianity. I know how it's supposed to play out. And what's supposed to happen is at the end of days, whatever Jesus, our Savior, is supposed to come and rapture everybody up off into heaven. The people who are left are destined for hell, essentially. And there are concepts. It depends. Now, I'm getting a little real life here. Don't let me throw your belief system into disarray. We get along because we all accept our differences, right? So anyway, the way we see it in Christianity is that there is no purgatory. People know about purgatory as this transitional place between heaven and hell where your souls are judged. Well, the reason why, I'll be really brief. I'm not trying to convert anybody. The reason why purgatory doesn't fit in with Christianity is because Jesus Christ died on the cross for our sins, to forgive us for our sins. So there's really no need for us to be judged in that regard, like in a traditional purgatory sense. Okay. Doug in DayZ is fictional setting, and I'm trying to take a real life concept and integrate it into this fictional setting to see what would happen, like as an experiment. I just want to see if the volcano erupts or if it just sits there and is a dud and nothing happens, or what have you. So I decided to go ahead and go full fictional, all right, and integrate this concept of purgatory, which people love, by the way. Everybody wants a last chance. You know what I mean? Like, you get all these chances in life. Everybody wants that last chance, and they want to know it. So what I was thinking was, and this is also like I was trying to explain, and I've been doing this from the very beginning, explaining how people die and then wake up on the coast. And, everybody has their explanations for it. And most people, and I poke fun at this. This is like a total fourth wall barrier bending exercise that I did with this Life After video. But the idea is I confront the fact that you wake up on the coast, even though most people just, play it off. I confront it, and I'm like, no, this thing actually happens, and this is why. And it was cool because I was able to integrate it into the core belief system of my character. I was able to offer an explanation that anyone's free to use if they want, by the way. That's why I wanted it to be in character information. It's just a concept, an idea that, if it's like, I get tired of saying every day, I just got drunk and woke up on the coast. Here's like an actual story-driven reason for it that you can use if you want. Or you can ignore it. Either way, I've decided to fully embrace it. It's kind of the cornerstone of my character's belief system now. And people are going to find that out as we play and as I make more videos and as I do other things with this particular character. I'm going to try to expand on it even more and really kind of make it a reality and see how many people get on board with it. I think it would just be super fun to try that. But anyway, that is almost the full character progression that I've had so far. So I started where I was just a dude wanting to play a game, all right, and gotten to where I had defined. I asked the question. Okay, I've created a character to answer the question. I started to answer that question. So now I feel like I'm kind of about maybe midway, maybe at the halfway point through Alessandro's character development. And I've been at this for almost 5 months now. I'd say 4 solid months of playing this character. And yeah, I'm only about halfway through developing his character and his story. So you can see that I don't know where it's going to end up. I've had a couple of different options. I've had people who've tried to get him to go old, like I like to say, I like to call it Old Testament preacher, with the Bible in one hand and a shotgun in the other. He could stay completely docile and nice and friendly and just try to save souls. He could do any number of other things. He could give up on his religion altogether, though I really don't see that happening. It's kind of his thing. But there are still so many different avenues that I could take this character and still exploring this subject, by the way. Because even though I have, I've taken it and kind of created a life of its own out of it, there's still plenty of opportunity, especially as I'm now starting to bring other players into it. So as other players come in and they start to play and they leave their impressions on Alessandro and they leave their mark on the church and the things I'm role playing around, it's going to continue to develop Alessandro even more. He just had a whole group of his friends effectively get wiped out. Now, yes, that was an OOC situation, and I 100% am using it in character because that's what a role player does, by the way. Notice I didn't say a great role player. I don't consider myself to be a great role player, but I'm not going to let an OOC situation go to waste, especially when it's a big story-altering thing. And I'm not going to get into why and what it was. You guys know. You most likely know. You know me. So it just is what it is. And I'm going to use that in character. I'm going to use it to further develop my character further. You're going to see a couple of more stories, either a written story or, just a text story, or maybe another audio or something that's going to come out soon. About that's going to kind of bridge another arc in Alessandro's story. And a couple of people know and have an idea of what's coming. But we'll have to see. It's probably going to end up a spectacular mess. But I don't know. I never planned, and that's another thing, guys. I never planned to play the Reverend Alessandro for the entire time that I was with Doug. And that's something else that might go back into organic roleplay. It might go back even into life changes from earlier in the show, is that you got to be willing to change. Like, I've already got an alternate character concept ready. So if the day comes when I'm like, oh, this was a beautiful moment, this has got to be the end, and then you end it. Or if it comes 6 months from now, a year from now, I mean, who knows? I've already got a backup character concept I'm ready to roll with like any day now. And it's actually a little more silly. I'm kind of looking forward to that one. And I started to try to kind of play it as an alternate character. I might actually do that, but I'm piling so much crap on my plate right now. It's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to break into more alternates on a new character. I don't know, man. I'll tell you, I actually think it's kind of amusing. It was a concept that I was working on not too long ago, when I was toying with the idea of playing on another server. And so I was like, oh, I just want to do something fun. So I just came up with this completely wacky idea. And I ended up not going anywhere. Obviously, I still play on Doug. And so then I realized, this would be a really fun thing to play. But I don't know what kind of faction this other character would be in now. I knew which kind of what he would be in at first. I'm not giving any good hints yet, am I? It what I decided to do, I'll put it to you this way, is it's actually an accent character too, which is fantastic because my accents suck. I know that people really appreciate my voice, and I really appreciate there's going to be a lot of appreciation in this appreciative moment that I'm going to appreciatively share with you. I am very grateful to everybody who compliments me on my voice. I was the kind of person who grew up most of my life with negative self-esteem. It was awful. Like, I want to go back and just beat the crap out of myself for feeling so bad about myself, which in turn would probably have made me feel worse about myself. Go figure. So, yeah, I think I beat myself up enough over the years. But so it really means a lot when people compliment me on the things that I do. I'm not fishing for compliments. I definitely didn't do any of this for that. But I do thank you guys. I mean, the love and support that I've experienced in this community. I mean, it's just not, I can't even really put it into words. I mean, honestly. Even just in trying to do a concept like this, this is the first time. I don't know if you guys have noticed. This is I used to do podcasting, whatever. I've done some radio work back in the early 2000s, but this is really the first time I've ever tried to do anything instructional. And I'm here with a bunch of peers, and I was super nervous. And I've streamed off and on, mostly on, for a year. So you wouldn't think that I'd be getting nervous about something like this. But really, 2 weeks ago was the first time I'd ever done a just chatting session. Now, when I'm playing games and whatnot, I'm chatting all the time, but it's different when you've got a game that you can use to distract you, and the lulls and all of that. You don't really get a safety net, like having a game when you're doing a just chatting or an informational kind of presentation. So just the sheer fact that everybody has been so behind this and so looking forward to it, and I think it's going okay. Like you guys are all still here, so that's probably a good thing. But no, I really do. I really appreciate the love and support. And, if there's anything I can do, I've had people ask me to do voice work for them, and I've agreed to. And I would probably still do the same. So if there's anything that I can do to help you guys out and encourage any of your creative endeavors, or even just, having more fun playing, just let me know. If I'm available, I'm all for it, man. Because I really feel like... I'm not an it takes a village kind of guy, but it certainly helps. I'll put it to you that way. It definitely helps. Excuse me. So, yeah, I don't know how to give a hint about the kind of character that I'm working on next without really spoiling the fun of it. But I'll tell you that my icon and my image, the elements that you see on the screen played a little bit of a part in some of that. And I won't go as to, be pointing anything out. But if you imagine my persona here, it might give you a little hint as to kind of, all right, I'll just say it. All right. I want to play a part. All right. Look, I just want to play a part. That's all there is to it. I'm going to play a part. And this is my crappy accent. It's part of my part accent, but not quite, because I'm still working on it. But what it is, the reason, this is what got me thinking about it this way, right? Savvy? Okay, here we go. Is that my accents are freaking awful. Like my British accent. By the way, I do not even know how to describe the accent that you just heard. I don't. It's kind of a mix match of maybe a little British, maybe a little Australian. I noticed... Oh, I said that pretty good. Australian. Anyway, it's a little bit of mixed match of British and Australian and Pirates of the Caribbean, and it's awful. So I'm embracing that. In fact, I'm taking that weakness and making it a strength, and you'll see sooner or later. Pretty soon, people are going to want to see me play this character, and they're going to want to come and kill Alessandro until I stop and play the new one. But anyway, we'll see. Sea of Thieves. I know, man. I haven't. Oh, I should have gotten it over. I should have gotten it over Christmas when it was on sale. I know I should have. I know that I'm regretting not playing Sea of Thieves. For some reason, it seems like that just is a game. It's a natural for me. I should be playing it. But anyway, so I'll continue to work on the really crappy accent. I'll come up with the rest of the character's background, and sooner or later, you're going to see it. You'll know it's me, because I'm the only one that'll talk that stupid. It'll be fantastic. You guys will love it. Yes. Originally, he was going to be an Islander. I'll just say it. I think it's kind of obvious. But he can't be now. So I'm going to come up with something else. He's going to be something else. It's going to be something else. I'm really looking forward to it, man. I'm telling you. That's right. Oh, wait. Oh. If you ever meet him, be sure to ask him why they call him Boomer. I've already got an answer for that one too. I won't spoil it now. I won't. I would do it in an impromptu, spontaneous stream that nobody was planning to be on, and then that way it'd be like, well, if you were following me, you would know. See, something like that. I don't do giveaways, guys, and I'm not like pretty. I did actually consider one day doing. I know this isn't Doug related. I'm sorry, but I was actually thinking about doing body paint one day. That seems to get attention. I could do it. I think I could do it. It would be a very like a naturey scene, I think, because I have a lot of hair on my chest. I don't think it would work out too well. Oh my goodness. All right, guys. I don't know, man. That's kind of about all I had to talk about now that I'm talking about painting my chest. I think I've really gone through just about everything that I had planned for today. And look, it's been almost an hour and a half. That's actually not bad. That's better than I used to do when I podcasted. So you think I should become a cannibal? Yeah, I've heard that a few times. I think it's from you pretty often. I'm telling you, man, if I could turn down the giggle, everybody else can hear it. I don't care about everybody else hearing it, but man, it just gets on my nerves. It does. I mean, it kind of reminds me of like a tweaker or something, you know? So, I mean, I just don't. Maybe if I role played that way, I could hang out at the crack house. Wait, I don't think that's going to be there anymore. I guess we'll find out. I could start the crack house. It's a cannibal tweaker. That sounds fun. That's right. Alex, come down to Chono, do the Lord's work. All right, I'll do it. I'll do it one time. I am the Reverend Alessandro. Now, some people don't like me to talk like this when you can actually see me, because it's kind of like voice acting. You know, when you go and you're watching your favorite show, and you see the behind the scenes, and you realize that the big, like 6 foot tall black dude's actually like a 4 foot tall white girl who talks like this, you know, kind of breaks the immersion. But some people really like it. Now, I'll just go ahead and talk about it for a minute, just so you know. And as you can hear my normal voice now, I'm not even all that southern. So this is actually an accent that I've been working on for a while now. And I think I play it off pretty well, don't you think? Thanks, guys. My wife hates that voice. She hates it. And I'm like, man, you know, because like I wouldn't mind being a voice actor. I kind of like to do different, you know, try to do different voices and like cartoony voices and this or that. And for some reason, that one's really stuck with me. And now I've got to try to broaden out into some other stuff, or everything I do is going to end up sounding like a Reverend Alessandro, which, you know, we don't need. We don't need everybody to sound like Reverend Alessandro. Only I could sound like Reverend Alessandro. She does. She hates my voice. What's her favorite voice? This one. Without a doubt, that's my wife's favorite voice from me. Did we get it? Yeah, okay. I see the LOLs. You think I'm kidding. Oh, my goodness. Well, guys, I think on that note, I think I'm going to wrap this up, the gaming workshop. I don't know. Like I said, the numbers are still going up, so I don't think I failed badly. But no, I don't know. I think next time we're going to do it, I had some ideas about what we were going to talk about. I'm going to leave the whitelist on the table. But again, to talk about the whitelist, I really need some staff input. So what I'll wait to do is I'll continue to do this until I've impressed the staff enough for them to go, you know what, maybe it wouldn't be so bad to get booked on this show because all the cool kids are doing it. I'm just saying you want to be cool. This is one way to do it. But anyway, guys, yeah, I'd be more than happy to, in the future, actually have more people hop into Discord. We can actually have some roundtable discussions. I know that Buck has started doing that once a month in the Doug Discord and on the TeamSpeak. And I highly recommend. I wasn't able to go to the first one. It's going to be on the 15th of every month. I'm going to go ahead and drop this for him. Make sure that you go if you are vested in Doug, because it's a community roundtable, essentially, where they do bring up topics and people actually get to talk. Everybody, not just one person like me. Robert nailed me, man. I'll tell you right now, he said something early on after we had met that really upset me. But then I had to think about, why did it upset me so much? Oh, yeah, because it's true. I do like to hear myself talk. I won't even lie. I like my voice. My wife might not like my voice, but I like my voice. I don't know why. I guess because if I'm the one talking and embarrassing myself, then it's saving other people from having to do the same. Always looking out for my fellow man. Dude, I could do this for a whole nother hour, but I'm not going to. What we're going to do is call this to a close. I really appreciate everybody coming, and I really appreciate you guys showing your support. Please let me pop this in here again because the show is never over in my Discord. You guys are always welcome to pop in, talk about Doug, DayZ, role playing, anything that you want. Find people who are not whitelisted. Find people who don't know how to role play. Find people who don't know how to have fun in PvP and send them my way, man. I'll be more than happy to talk to anybody to try to help anybody get more enjoyment out of this server, especially in these times when I've seen like the super successful server, and a lot of people right now are feeling the weight of that time. I mean, the server's been around for 6 years. Yeah, man, it's gonna get cumbersome after a while, and so we'll try to find ways to breathe new life into the things that we're doing, and trying to keep people positive, and all of that. And we can do it together. I mean, we're a community. I never would have stayed in this game if it wasn't for people that I have met along the way. Robert and Johan and Alex. I mean, there are so many people. Ember. I could go on the entire carnival. I mean, guys, look, the Islanders, rest in peace. There's just so many people that have helped make this experience once in a lifetime experience, and something I don't want to give up. And so I would do anything I can to help others experience it in the same way. So with that, I'm going to close like this was the end of a show. Even though I'm actually probably going to stay on because I'm good till 4. I just don't know what else I'm going to do after this. So, yeah. I gotta have the stream deck set up to do all this stuff. So anyway, take care, guys. It was nice seeing you. I'm not really leaving, but I am. And this is how I do it.